You're listening to the Soap Free Podcast, the show that brings you the latest information on soap-free products, trends, and ideas.
This is JP from Procyon. Thank you for joining me on another Soap Free Podcast. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the power of smiling. How is that related to cleaning? Well, we'll get to that at the end of the podcast, but if you would, I'd like to share some thoughts on smiling. So, did you know that your voice sounds different when you talk while smiling? I was instructed, or it was suggested to me early in my career, that when I answer a phone or I'm talking to people, especially when I'm maybe not feeling cheerful or it's going to be a difficult phone call, that I should remember to actually physically smile before I answer the phone or when I'm speaking in those situations, because it makes you sound different. Even over the phone, certainly in person, it changes people's perceptions. And so in order to reinforce those thoughts and share with you more thoroughly, I want to refer back to one of my, not in person, but through book mentors, Dale Carnegie, who you've heard me mention before on the Soap Free Podcast. Dale Carnegie is famous for teaching sales and just personality habits to people who go on to become very successful business leaders and salespeople. And so this is from his How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm going to just read to you for a minute or two and then follow up. Okay, so he says, the chairman of a board of directors of one of the largest rubber companies in the United States told me that according to his observations, people rarely succeed at anything unless they have fun doing it. This industrial leader doesn't put much faith in the old adage that hard work alone is the magic key that will unlock the door to our desires. I have known people, he said, who succeeded because they had a rip-roaring good time conducting their business. Later, I saw those people change as the fun became work, their business had grown dull, they lost all joy in it, and they failed. So, you must have a good time meeting people or talking to them if you expect them to have a good time meeting you. I've asked thousands of business people to smile at someone every hour of the day for a week and then come to class and talk about the results. How did it work? Well, let's see. Here is a letter from William B. Steinhardt, a New York stockbroker. His case isn't isolated. In fact, it is typical of hundreds of cases. I love this, guys. You're going to love it too. I've been married for over 18 years, wrote Mr. Steinhardt, and in all that time, I seldom smiled at my wife or spoke 24 words to her from the time I got up until I was ready to leave in the morning. I was one of the worst grouches who ever walked the street. When you asked me to make a talk about my experience with smiles, I thought I would try it for a week. So the next morning, while combing my hair, I looked at my glum mug in the mirror and said to myself, Bill, you're going to wipe that scowl off your sourpuss today. You're going to smile, and you're going to begin right now. As I sat down to breakfast, I greeted my wife with a good morning, dear, and smiled as I said it. He says, you warned me that she might be surprised. Well, you underestimated her reaction. She was bewildered. She was shocked. I told her that in the future, she could expect this as a regular occurrence, and I kept it up every morning. This change of mine brought more happiness into our home in 2 months since I started than there was during the entire last year. So he goes on to say at some length that he began to smile at everybody as he went through his day, be it the cashier in a Subway or somebody holding the door for him, etc. He goes on now to say, I soon found that everybody was smiling back at me. I treat those who come to me with complaints or grievances in a cheerful manner. I smile as I listen to them, and I find that adjustments are accomplished much easier. I find that smiles are bringing me dollars, many dollars every day. So for our professional cleaners out there, to the side, take note of that. If nothing else, that smile is going to improve your customer relations and bring you more dollars in repeat business and referrals. I promise you. So going on, You don't feel like smiling? Then what? Two things. First, force yourself to smile. And by the way, I had to do that to start with. I mean, this is back when I was practicing law, and almost every discussion I had was generally on the challenging or unpleasant side. You don't feel like smiling, you force yourself to do it. If you're alone, force yourself to whistle or hum a tune or sing. Act as if you were already happy, and that will tend to make you happy. Here's the way the psychologist and philosopher William James put it. Action seems to follow feeling, but really action and feeling go together. And by regulating that action, which is under the more direct control of our personal wills, we can indirectly regulate the feeling, which is not under our control. So remember this. Everybody in the world is seeking happiness, and there is one sure way to find it, and that's by controlling your thoughts. Happiness doesn't depend on outward conditions. It depends on inner conditions. And so, in conclusion on that part, I just want to tell you, remember to try this out. Even if you don't feel like smiling, when you're communicating with others, smile. If you have to force it to begin with, do it. You'll change your habits, and this is a big change for the good. So smile. Now, how does this relate to cleaning? Just occurred to me that for a lot of people, maybe those same people who don't smile when they're talking, if we're going to change that behavior consciously, remember it is a conscious choice to go from the cleaning methods that and cleaners that we used growing up in the time we were children, soaps and detergents, and the smell of clean to most of us in a bathroom involves bleach. It involves caustic chemicals to clean tile, etc. So just like every day forcing yourself and learning the habit of smiling at people or smiling when you're talking in your communications, being positive, we have to bring that same diligent, conscious effort to making healthy choices about how and what we clean with. A great place to start, here's the pitch, is Soap-Free Procyon's Spot and Stain Remover. I suggest if you haven't used it before, you go to our website at soapfreeprocyon.com, spelled Procyon, and check out our beautiful line of products. But the first one to buy and your hero product every day will be our Spot and Stain Remover. So two things, get that spot and stain remover and smile. See how it changes your life. And if it does, we would love to hear from you. The entire family at Soap-Free Procyon wishes you a wonderful day. And in case I don't publish another podcast before, happy Halloween. Trick or treat.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Soap-Free Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, soapfreeprocyon.com, where you can learn more about amazing soap-free cleaning products. Be sure to subscribe to the show in iTunes, Google, Spotify, or iHeartRadio so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Thanks so much for that effort. Until next time.